family, good evening. This is Joe's Ray Collazo, and you're watching or listening to Found in Translation Talk Show, the talk show that stacks truth about politics and today's hottest issues. Again, the good evening, a rare Monday night edition of Found in Translation, the talk show that stacks truth. We'll tell you straight out what's going on. We can disagree here and there, but you can't disagree about the facts. When we know the facts, you can make your own decision for yourself. This is Joe's Ray Collazo. Thank you so much for joining the talk show. Again, appreciate our people watching Found in Translation Daily on this Monday, March 23rd, on either Facebook Live, YouTube, or Twitter. You can also catch every complete video version of the show on our YouTube page at YouTube/Ray's Podcast. And for our audio heads, you're listening to this show all over the country, all over the world, whether it's Kensington or Canberra, Australia. Anywhere you can download a podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Pandora. I know y'all listen all day to music, fam. Keep it real. That's what y'all listen to all day, all night. Pandora, Spotify, the Latin Trap channel, the 80s Hip Hop channel, the channel. Y'all can download and subscribe, Found in Translation on there. Give it a nice review. Do your thing. Support the movement here at Found in Translation. Thank you so much for joining us on this sort of special FIT Daily Edition. We're going to quickly get into what's going on in Washington, give you a sense of, there's a lot of discussion around why don't they pass phase 3, give you some real information about what's in the bills, and you can decide what makes sense. A word on what this continual pandemic and this continual tragedy, this crisis, lesson about what it's about leadership. And we're going to put a smile on your face. We're going to talk a little bit about, and if you missed it, you missed it. I guess it's still going on, I guess. But if you weren't part of the D-Nice experience this weekend, you didn't quite have the weekend you could have. A little bit about what made D-Nice made our weekend. We have on the crawl, if you're watching the video version of the show, whether it's live or taped on YouTube, we have on the crawl a hotline number, 1-800-422-4453, 1-800-422-4453, 1-800-422-4453. Reading is fundamental. And that crawl is for the domestic victim hotline. It came to our attention from our great friend, big part of the show, Christina Vega, that now that so many of us are basically isolated, quarantined, stuck at home, stay the F at home, that this actually is on some level further trapping and isolating people that are victimized by domestic violence. So if you or know of anyone that's in this situation and you need to call or even text to try to find ways in these grave times for support, you can call or text the domestic violence hotline at 1-800-422-4453, 1-800-422-4453. And that number's continue to scroll on the video version. Thank you, Christina Vega, for keeping us posted on that very important information. My man, Big Dog Angel, Big Dog Medina the third gives me a shout out. I'm trying to stay as much as I can. Yesenia Garcia giving us a little shout out to the Sun Devils. Is your daughter home, my friend? I would imagine she is. So hope all safe and sound with everybody out here in the Found Translation family, and keep the comments going. Actually, put in the link if you want to join the show. It's lonely out here sometimes. Feel free to just hit that link and you get your webcam going, and you can be on your cell phone. You can be part of this conversation. But if you continue to provide the comments, we'll share with them to our audience. So really quickly, so there's been a lot of conversation. So to catch people up on what's going on in Washington, because for a lot of people that might feel a little gross to even think about what's going on in Washington, I don't blame you, to be honest. We've passed a couple packages fairly quickly, even though the Senate took 5 days, and 3 of those days were a 3-day weekend last week, a couple weekends ago. But eventually, some initial packages of aid, primarily geared towards trying to close some of the healthcare gaps we have in our country around paid sick leave and having people be able to get the test regardless of their healthcare status. The House and basically Trump's guy Mnuchin, the Secretary Treasurer, cut those deals in a bipartisan way, right? And then the Senate, after 5 days, got around to it. We're only in a biggest health crisis of our lives in the last 102 years of the country. But at 5 days, who's counting? So now we're at phase 3, and the Senate being all brash, since we took 5 days to, be involved in this other one, we're going to have our ideas now, right? So they took the lead on crafting package 3, which is kind of the most ambitious one to date, which is going to support people that are being rapidly unemployed, underemployed, and the small business community and all the other, effects of this whole situation. More hospitals need more resources. State and local governments need more resources. So there's a lot of hands out. A lot of people clinging to tip cup here. But the bottom line is for the most part, there's merit to it. So the Senate came up with something, and over the weekend, the Democrats said, I don't think so. And, McConnell tried to blame it on Pelosi, blame the woman, right? Like she's a problem or something. She's only the Speaker of the House, dog. She does have something to say about this, my friend. The long and short of it is that it's not going anywhere. The Senate version, the House has released. And so today there was a lot of, and really yesterday was a lot of, last couple of days, been a lot of from the right and a lot of sort of meme culture. Why don't they get their stuff together? Why are the Democrats blocking this? Why don't you just pass anything? Just pass something because we need a check. That's basically the tone of it. And so as the Democrats, who sometimes don't do a particularly good job of sharing this information, but nevertheless, it's accurate, that the reason they didn't sign off on the Senate bill over the weekend was that $500 billion of it, let me repeat that number, $500 billion. I don't think that word exists in Spanish, the word billion, because it's just too big. $500 billion in that bill was going to go to the Secretary Treasurer, Mnuchin, who's Trump's money guy, and they could do whatever they wanted with it. It was just, hey, Treasurer, you got it to help businesses. Hasta luego. I mean, he literally could have just wrote a check to Trump with that money. He could have, and even if they wrote it to corporations, the cruises, the real important stuff like cruises and, luxury hotels, right? And by the way, those cruise companies they're not even based technically in the United States. They're on the Cayman Islands and Bermuda. That's that hustle they got. Them cruises, they're a ripoff, big time. That's why I don't support them. There would have been no requirements for them to keep workers on payroll, or they could have used that money to give the executives, stock buybacks, bonuses. There was no requirement to even stay open with the money. So that's why the Democrats, I don't think so. Homie, don't play that. So the bill that came out today, and again, you could disagree with it, but you need to know the facts. So the bill that came out today, I want to give you some highlights of the House bill that came out the press afternoon, because y'all need to have this information, because I know y'all got relative people ain't paying attention like that. Well, what Democrats obstructing? Well, first of all, the senators 2 weeks ago didn't go to work for 3 days and didn't pass it in 5. So if that's not obstruction, I don't know what is. But nevertheless, the House bill, now again, you can disagree with it, but I'm going to give you the facts. $2.5 trillion. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of plata, pop. Okay, but the focus of that money would be, first of all, getting all of it 1,500, whether we dirt poor or whatever, whether you pay taxes or not, whether you pay, as long as you, whether you file your tax with an I-10 number or not, there was going to be, everyone will get some immediate cash. Of course, our elderly, people that are already unemployed, there's a vast, about 12% of the country don't do their taxes, period, because they don't have to. They don't get anything out of it. So, there's a lot of levels of making sure everyone gets the money that they need, right? Provisions so that there will be no evictions, whether that would be through the pausing on the mortgage payments or the renters, which is what we were worried about, because, if you got a mortgage, you can negotiate something. Renters have much less rights, right? Resources for your state and local governments, because look at all the resources that are being eaten up for state and local governments, incluyendo all the territories, which means that in the House package, Puerto Rico would be included. Would not be an automatic thing. We talked about it on the show Thursday with Dr. Francis Colon. That was something we're monitoring. So in the House bill, that's in there. The money we need for our small businesses, and I know my heart goes out to all my small business owners. I know they're stressing not only about their personal financial situation, the viability of their business, but, for them to have to lay off employees, I know that hits people in the heart. on a lot of levels. So, that's something that's in the House version of the bill, and making sure that people that are in the gig economy also get something. So there's a lot of people who don't get W-2s, but they're making money. And so there's some resources in there for them. Now, how you get it to them, there's challenges there. Let's keep it real. But there's an effort to address that as well. And more money for paid sick leave, which is a big part of this equation, my friends. Interesting how we talk about these things. And now when there's we talk about paid sick leave all the time on the show and those kind of issues and healthcare access. And by the way, speaking of healthcare people, 10, you know what today is? The 10-year anniversary of the passage of the Affordable Health Care Act, the ACA, Obamacare, AKA. Can you imagine if Obamacare, if the Affordable Care Act had been done away with a few years ago, if McCain, the Cancer Paz, had gone like this, and those 20 million more people, and those people that got sick of leukemia and cancer all got kicked off to healthcare, the mess we'd be having right now? Stuff matters, fam. Stuff matters. So those are the contours of the Senate bill. They're going to be some money for the corporations. You do have to keep some of these corporations open. I understand that. We understand that. But you got to put requirements on that money. So if you're going to get that money, you got to make sure you keep the people on payroll. You're providing people with sick day coverage. You're providing them the same labor protections that you would normally. Right? That's fair. That's fair. Fairer, no doubt. So those are some of the things that they're grappling with. It's interesting because the Senate doesn't have that much stroke in this whole thing. First of all, a bunch of them ain't there. Because in quarantine, my man Rand Paul got the Rona. I mean, let me fall asleep before I feel sorry for that guy. He went swimming in the pool. Hey, everybody got sick. No importa. The guy's a doctor. He knows better. These people are clowns. But they're really out of pocket because it's basically the Democrats have a lot of leverage because Trump is so desperate to pass anything, make it look like he's do something. Then, so they're kind of out of it. And half of them ain't even there. And one of the sad things that's part of the dynamic that I'm hearing out of Washington all last couple of days. It's understandable, but it's sad if you think about it, is that they're trying to get this done as soon as possible. Not so they can work on something else, so that they can adjourn, so they can get the heck out of D.C. because they don't want to be around each other. They don't want to get sick. Sort of ironic that they're doing everything they can to go home to get paid sick leave time with no strings attached to it. And the rest of us are either getting laid off, best case scenario, get the blessing, the privilege to work from home. Well, you got to also teach your kids because they're going to school at home if you're lucky. Or you go to work and you're on the front lines of this crisis. And of course, we talk about the obvious first responders and, the love we got and we always pray and love and support. That was a big part of the show last Thursday. Our first responders in the medical field, the nurses, the healthcare workers, the doctors, the EMTs, our people in law enforcement, the firemen. I was reading a report yesterday that postal workers are very concerned that the federal government has done very little to protect them because not only do you work with people, but also all of the things you're carrying, the packet. They're not even providing them gloves to carry the packages. Who knows if that's on those different surfaces that you're touching all day and all the mailboxes you got to touch things all day. That's what you do. So there's a lot of people on a lot of levels on the front lines of this. Your grocers, your service workers, you still got chefs cooking and cleaning and doing takeout and working at CVS. And there's a lot of people out here on the front lines. So we got to support them as well. This is your host, Ray Collazo. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Found Translation Talk Show. Again, if you have any conversation, let's see, a lot of people got a lot to say. Old friend of ours, Hedman Trejo. Saludos, Rafael from Bolivia. I tell you, I love that Biden. Where's Biden, Hedman? There's Biden. He's hanging out with Hedman Trejo in his logo. But we have people all over the world watching the show. Appreciate you, Hedman. Of course, Eddie Collazo Jr., one of my yumbos. God bless you, brother. Be safe out there. Proud of you. Keep up the fight going. You know it, my man. Denai Esquivanarino. Hey. Ho. What's up, girl? How you doing, Denai? Natasha from Miami. Hi, Ray. Calling in from Twitter. And, of course, Denise in Virginia, no more school for her children this year, unfortunately. That was announced today. Madeline Villanueva has a link to a better chance dealing with the COVID crisis for our young people. Thank you, Madeline, always for providing us very valuable information. And I encourage people to look at that link. And we're talking about what's going on out here in our world with the coronavirus and other things. Really quickly, before we get to the fun stuff with D-Nice, I wanted to say, this whole situation, and we'll have a lot of time to we'll have a lot of time, obviously, to, or maybe we won't, because it's over. Who knows? But generally speaking, we should have some time, God willing, to have a lot of conversations around what this means, either politically or sort of grading this current president. But what I did want to share was, and by the way, 43,000 cases in the United States, over 500 deaths. So if you end up having millions of cases, and even if it's 1% or 0.5% fatalities, we're talking a lot of people that we're going to lose, and probably a lot of people unnecessarily we're going to lose in this whole situation, family. That's the reality of the situation, including a couple of great friends. One in Connecticut. I want to share names. I didn't say I could. So very good friend and a brother-in-law of a very good friend have contracted the virus. People of two different age groups, two different backgrounds. So it's hitting us all on a very personal level at this point, particularly on the coast of this country. And by the way, for you people in the Midwest that think you're immune, or it's not going to be a big deal out here, we're in the middle, not that many people. All those kids are going to go back from spring break that went to Florida these last 2 weekends. They're going back to your communities. So ten cuidado ahí. I just did want to say that, this never seen crisis exacerbated. And I guess what I wanted to share in this segment is that it's a painful lesson for all of us, but a lesson nevertheless, which we can use in our own lives around the importance of why leadership matters. And when at the crux of it, there's a lot of leadership lessons. There's industries of people much smarter than me that could talk about, write books and seminars. And there's people watching this that's to do for a living. But I'll say this, that not only as someone that's a career person, but also someone that loves sports, the most important thing about the leader is for there to be one message and one person ultimately that holds himself accountable. Because when the leader doesn't hold themselves accountable, everything falls apart. And what have we heard from this president? It's never been seen before. We were told at the end of the calendar year that this was a problem. So it's not that it wasn't seen. It was coming at you from a mile away. And it kept telling you. And by the way, we had Ebola, we had H1. I mean, we've had other maladies. The issue is how you handle them. It's not my fault. Pence is going to take the lead on this. Oh, now it's the states are going to take the lead on this. Oh, no, the corporate America is going to take the lead on this. Passing blame. And I don't care if it's you running a team, you're in the political side of things, or just in your own personal life, you have to take responsibility. And when you take responsibility, and even when you come up for the efforts of others, and you say, you know what, ultimately it's on me. Yeah, maybe so-and-so made a mistake, or someone on my team made a mistake. Those people that work for you are going to trust you to know that you had their back. And they're going to work that much harder for you not to have to do that for them again. All right? What did he say today? Opening up a solution that'll be worse than the initial problem. I mean, that's not leadership, my friends. There's a little truth to that, in that, obviously we don't want this to ruin our economy. Yes, we don't want that as the end result. But the bottom line is you have to deal with the immediate issue right now. And if there's an immediate issue that's leading to people, potentially millions of people dying, you have to address that. And what led to this problem in the first place, right? So in all that we do as we move forward, and I know y'all are good at this, but we have to continue to not only hold ourselves accountable for our own lives, our personal lives, our career lives, the direction of the life is in whatever you define as leadership for yourself. But we have to continue to hold this president and everyone accountable, not just him, but obviously the people that are following are being complicit in this problem. And by the way, the people that are stepping up, notice my man Fauci was not on stage today at the press conference. Interesting. We'll see what happens there. But we all have to take responsibility. And if we're going to hold ourselves to those standards, he has to be held to those standards. You don't just pass along the problem. That doesn't work, my man. By the way, the worst example of it, over the weekend I saw, I believe his name was Gaynor, the head of FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So he manages the emergencies. His answer, when someone asked him on one of his news shows, was, "Well, what do you tell the hospitals that need the masks?" So, well, just get them however you can. If you could buy them on Amazon, or you could buy them from Korea or something, just wherever you can find them in the open market, just get them. We should all be running for the hills, my friends. I mean, this is the kind of, first of all, you talk about passing the buck when you're FEMA, that of FEMA. See, Puerto Ricans know about this because we just went through this 2 years ago. Now the rest of y'all are dealing with seeing what we just went through. Problem is we're getting it twice now, or 3 times with the earthquake. Second of all, this guy, let me tell you something. This guy, Gaynor, I don't think I would hire him. He didn't sound qualified to be the captain of a police department in Long Island, much less run FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Can you imagine being the head of FEMA and go on national television and say, get the masks however you can find them? If you can find them, at the corner store, or, maybe you could go through the yard sales. Oh, that's right. You can't go outside. This is Ray Collazo. Thank you for watching Found Translation Daily. I hope y'all like this time. Give me feedback. Do you like it on at 7? Do you like the show on at 8? It's hard to we got people calling in from Los Angeles. All right. Love to see our friends from the West Side. I tell you, we got people all over the country. Thank you, Ms. Bayas, for checking in. Last thing I wanted to say is, on a lighter note, I know some of my friends were down with it. Now I got to give a shout out to Tracy Sturdivant and Marco Davis, were the ones that got me the Evite to the club, E-Flyer, because this weekend celebrated producer hip hop scion. My name is D Nice. D Nice himself. My favorite song, by the way, for D Nice is 25 to Life. But anyway, D Nice himself literally just started on his own with not a lot of fanfare. Just started playing music on Instagram, on his IG Live. And after several marathon sessions, by the weekend had almost over 200,000 people watching his Instagram Live, playing, the grown folk stuff. We're talking about classic R&B, hip hop, 70s, 80s, 90s. But that was it. This was like our squad. And I think that was part of the vibe. So I just wanted to say, first of all, if you didn't see it, I think he's on today. So you can keep watching. Check out D Nice on IG and just enjoy the party. It's a lot of fun because he not only plays real good music and, from our era, the grown folk era, not the youngsters, not 2500 probably think is old school, oldie stuff. But, I think for 35 to 55 range, really a lot of fun. And he's not only obviously a well-renowned DJ and MC, producer, and content creator, apparently a big-time photographer, which I think I knew. I think Mario told me that. But that, he really has built a real authentic, fun online community. So anytime either friends of his in the industry get on the chat, scroll on IG, or especially celebrities, he shouts them out. He plays their songs. So Pink comes on, he plays her song. Lenny Kravitz comes on, he plays a song. And it kind of builds a whole vibe around, sort of the ultimate party where you're people watching, even though it's all virtual. So I think a lot of us needed that. I think a lot of us in that generation, that really he's playing for is really the people, the middle generation, the people that got the kids and are the caregivers and are stressing about making ends meet and this time period, and stressing about making sure our elderly are protected because, of course, they're the most vulnerable with the virus. And I think it was, in particular, look, Black love, Black star power, Black creativity was on full display. And it really was, it really started as much more of an intimate gathering, right? When he was first starting, I think the first night he had hundreds of people, a lot of people in the industry, a lot of people in the celebrity class. And I think, particularly again, in the Black leadership classes and the people that really like the arts were really starting to get the buzz. And then people like me kind of started tuning in and snuck in over the weekend. So it was a lot of fun. Shout out to D Nice because he gave a lot of Latinos love. He gave Latinos love throughout his, particularly on Saturday night when there was sort of a cadre of Latino celebrities. Lala, who's been one of his big supporters. Angie Martinez, Fat Joe. He was looking for Celie to get in the chat, and there was someone like teasing that she was going to come on. And then he played in Ode to Them and to Ode to Us and his Latin fan base. He played a couple salsa songs, Hector Lavoe, Mark Anthony. People got hyped. Tracy, my homegirl, told me later on that he played Suavemente, which I missed, but I heard everybody went bananas for that. So, but there's been a lot of examples. There's been a lot of fun. And I just think that it's a lesson to us that, we have to use these media channels to share our talents. And not all of us are DJs. I certainly don't play music. And there's other people that have other talents in those areas. I can't draw, anything. But I do this in a way that and tries to not only share my message about what's going on in the political world, but also to just give us a platform to have these conversations and give a platform to a lot of my friends and colleagues around the country that have a lot to say. And you need to hear what they got to say. And you need to see them as examples of what we can do in our own lives. I mean, I had a Latina scientist on Thursday. I've had people like Christina that built their own nonprofit organizations out of tragedy, out of being a survivor of domestic violence. I'm going to have friends on this week that want to share their messages of hope and inspiration and how they're taking this time period to rebuild themselves up, whether it's spiritually or artistically or career-wise, getting entrepreneurship on, forcing themselves to learn these tools so they can, kind of be ready for what the next economy is. Because we don't know. This could be the permanent for a minute, y'all. Keep it real. So let's continue to do that. Let's continue to support ourselves. Let's continue to support D Nice. D Nice is killing it. Much respect to him. And let's continue to enjoy fellowship and find ways, whether it's, these happy hour Zoom chats or things like we do here, or just texting a loved one, reaching out to people, FaceTime, finding these creative ways using the electronic tools. God, if this happened 30 years ago, we would have been screwed. We would have felt so lonely. There's no question about it. So I believe, let's see what other comments we have. Reverend Morena says 500 pounds of food are coming to North Square during the pandemic. Ask. So, Reverend, if you want to jump on, the link is in the chat, and that's so glad. And if there's any links or any ways we can support you. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So I'm sorry. So Pastor Morena is giving me a little bit more context to his comment here. The pastor is saying 500 pounds of food are coming to West Kensington Ministry for the community within the next few days. Let people know. So food insecurity is a major issue. So if you're in Norris Square, Kensington area, definitely check out. Professor, what's the name of your church? If you could put it on there. I forget the exact name of your church. But Norris Square, the big church in Norris Square. People are very aware of the professor's footprint. But we want to thank the professor again. For people that are listening to the show, you can text Domestic Violence Victim Hotline if you are dealing with a domestic violence situation while you're isolated now because of the coronavirus pandemic. 1-800-422-4453. Thank you so much. West Kensington Ministry is where you want to, if you're down in that part of the world, Lower Kensington, North Philly, North Square area, West Kensington Ministry is where you'll be providing those food services. Thank you so much for watching this edition of Found Translation Live. Let me know if you like the time, subject matters, my hat. A lot going on here, fam. Have a wonderful evening. Find accurate information. Share it with your friends and family about the coronavirus, the politics, everything that's going on. And have a wonderful evening and stay safe, family. Peace.